You know,
Wonderful.
It's a lot of fun. Oh, hey.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, this is Chris Savino.
Hey, this is Butch Hartman.
That's right. That's how we rehearsed it. Remember
That's
that?
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Creator of 4 television shows. 4.
Well, yeah, there's 4. Yeah, that's 4.
We got Fairly Odd Parents.
Yes.
We've got Bunsen is a Beast, which is a brand new show coming out today.
Right.
We've got,
that should have been last, but it's fine.
Where's your poster?
You've got
We got Tough Puppy.
Tough Puppy.
And we've got
Danny
Phantom.
Right, exactly. Yes, and Chris,
amazing.
creator of an amazing show that's just burning up the airwaves, The Loud House, right? The Loud House.
Sure.
And it's awesome. It's on Nick, and I'm super psyched because my new show, Bunsen is a Beast, premieres after your new airing of Loud House tonight.
Yes, 5 o'clock tonight on Nickelodeon is a brand new Loud House, and then afterwards is
Bunsen is a Beast.
The world.
So finally, been talking about this for a long time. I finally get to put it on TV. I'm very excited.
I'm
Hey, so we are here live drawing on paper like we always do.
the good old days.
I know. This is called Paper Kids. This we used to draw on this. Remember this?
Not really.
And you could actually throw it away if you wanted to, and we can't. There's no erasing. There's no swiping.
No
You
control
cannot,
Z on this
You
one.
cannot swipe this at all. It doesn't even swipe.
I'm going to swipe it when you're done.
Really? I'll bet.
Put it on eBay.
Exactly. Hey, what was I going to say? So, what are we answering questions from fans today? Right? You want to answer some questions?
Sure, but I'm going to continue drawing
I'm going to
Lincoln.
draw it too. Exactly.
Because, you know.
Well, I'm going to draw Fairly Odd Parents first, and then I'm going to draw a little Bunsen afterwards.
Well, let me ask
Warming
you a
up.
question first,
Okay.
before we go to people out there listening. What is it like? I mean, the amazing feeling of having a show go on the air for the first time.
Yep.
Does it go away when you get to your 4th, or is it something that you feel like it's just now part of you, and you that stress and that fear and that sweat that you get when it's getting closer to the time for it to air? How do you feel about having your 4th one?
Very good question. No, it's just as fun each time. Because I mean, how can it not be fun? Because you work on something super hard, whether it's one show or 2 shows, but each time it comes on the air, it's just another different thrill, and it's a whole different generation of kids you get to reach each time.
Hey, that's right.
Right?
That's right.
And you have like 10 generations of kids in your show here, so like you've reached all generations in one show.
One show.
I know. Now let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Where did the idea for Loud House come from?
Well, you know, I am one of 10 in my family. I'm
Really?
number 9. I have 5 sisters and 4 brothers, and it kind of comes from that. A big family idea was something that I knew I wanted to do.
Right.
You know, originally the show was about a boy rabbit with 25 sisters, because you know, rabbits multiply. But you know, soon after pitching it, it became clear that it needed to be humans, and I think that making it humans was the right way to go. Because it makes it a little bit more relatable than funny animal characters.
Got it, sure. So you came from a very busy house. Was it a big house? Did you live in a big house?
You know what? It was a big house. If you were standing on the street, it looked big, but it was only a 3-bedroom house.
Really?
And yeah, I shared a bedroom until I was 17, and
Wow.
didn't have my own room until like months before I moved out, and I should have milked it a little bit longer because it was pretty.
What people don't know is Chris and I share a bedroom right now.
Ha!
That's the weirdest part. Yeah. Hey guys, and send in your questions too. We are very excited to hear what you guys have to ask. So like, if they have any questions, people can ask us questions. Correct? You have a tattoo on your arm.
I do.
What is that? Show the
my
audience.
thought bubbles when I'm thinking.
Your thought. See, I don't have it.
Cartoons,
I don't have
comics.
that.
Yes.
Who wants to see Chris draw a tattoo on my arm? Raise your hand. Anybody? No.
I can't see if they're raising their hands out.
Okay, what did you draw? I drew a little Cosmo here.
I drew
This
a
picture of
Lincoln.
Cosmo, picture of Lincoln, very nice.
Cosmo.
Now I'm going to draw a Bunsen, and I'm going to see if you can draw a Bunsen. I'll draw a Bunsen first.
Oh goodness.
And he's pretty easy though. He's kind of let me see, I'll draw a big one here. He's 2 big eyes, and obviously the little cartoon eyes, 3 circles. And then he's got a real big, sort of a, kind of a Joker, Batman Joker mouth, almost like a clown mouth. Like this. And he has 3 teeth over here, and 2 teeth there, and then his tongue is always curved, like that. And then you have 3 little tufts of hair. The 2 tufts on the side are where his horns come out.
Are they tuft puppies?
Wow,
Sorry.
see?
I can't help it.
We
just
don't
comes
write
out.
jokes that much. Okay. And I'm getting the top bunk tonight, by the way. Okay, just so you know. Okay, and then you put he's got a stripe on his body, and then he has 4 little fingers. Let's see if you can draw this.
Oh my gosh.
And
Picture the magic of editing.
then he has a tail, exactly. So there's a Bunsen picture. Bam.
He's cute.
Isn't he cute? Oh, I forgot one side of his head. Wait. There, that side of his head.
Wow.
Bam.
I wasn't
there
sure.
he is. He's basically a square with a stripe and some teeth. You can do this, right?
He's a marshmallow.
Exactly. You got that. So I'll do that, and I'll try and draw Lincoln. Let me look at Lincoln.
Well, you showed me how to draw this guy, so.
Well, I'm just gonna wing.
I'm gonna start with two big eyes.
Okay.
Like you said.
Where to put this? Okay, I'll put this. All right. So Lincoln. There's a picture of Lincoln back there. He's a circle. Right, and then okay, he's got the hair. It does that. What I love about Chris's style, it's very comic strip. Like in the 1970s when I grew up, it was a long ago time.
Yeah.
We'd actually get a newspaper and read the comic strips. And you were very Mel Lazarus. You like Mel Lazarus?
I love Mel Lazarus. He just passed away, sadly.
And that's kind of what your stuff reminds me of. A little Mel Lazarus, a little Johnny Hart. You like Johnny Hart?
You know, I love Wizard of Id.
And BC.
And BC.
Right.
And it goes back to Crazy Cat. It goes back to Pogo. It goes back to Peanuts.
Okay.
All huge influences on.
If you guys like to draw out there, you really should look at some of your influences now and try and copy some of the stuff that other people do, because that'll really help inform what you do. That's what I used to do all the time. I think Chris did too. We would just copy other people's work, right? For years
I still
and years.
do.
Yeah, I'm copying your work right now.
Someone's asking, have you guys ever worked on a show together?
We kind of did.
Kind of cross paths a little, almost.
On Dexter's Laboratory.
Years
ago. Yes. Danny Tartakovsky, I think, was leaving Dexter's Lab at the time. Didn't you run Dexter's for a bit?
Into the ground.
Into the ground. Well, congratulations. You're looking at the man who brought down Dexter's Laboratory.
It's all part of my master plan to get rid of the greats.
Yeah. Well,
so what's left is this.
That's it. I'm saying. So that must mean I'm next, but I'm not one of the greats. So I'm just like a hanger.
You're safe. You all right?
I'm safe. Yeah. That means I'm not great. See what happens when you hang out with Chris Savino? See that? He's got an evil beard, like a supervillain.
So I can stroke it.
Exactly. I know. I don't have that. Okay, I'm getting there. I'm almost done. The Lincoln's got. Okay, here's my Lincoln so far. It's coming along. Can I work on the Loud House? You think if kids don't watch Bunsen?
Yes.
I can.
Yes.
You heard it here.
Because we'll need to make more episodes to fill that space.
And we have to get clean sheets for the bunk beds too.
Oh my gosh.
Am I I know. Is that okay?
Overshare.
Too much information.
I don't know if I did it.
So Lincoln. Okay, Lincoln's kind of in the mid range. How old is Lincoln? Like 11?
He's 11. Hey, that's pretty cute. Boom.
Okay, wait 1 second. I'm almost done. Okay, there we go.
We
We've shared each other's cartoon characters. Well, you can almost work on Bunsen. Yeah.
I don't think I'm funny enough. I'm going to sign mine because you know what? We might just give these away later.
I might just sign this.
But I
Walt Disney. There we go.
Frozen in time.
Wham. See there?
All right, so now I'm going to draw.
What else can we draw? Hey, what do you guys want to see us draw? Give us some suggestions out there. Is anybody suggesting anything?
We've had a request for the McBrides and Danny Phantom.
Oh, all right. Danny Phantom. Hey, by the way, I have a
this.
brand new Danny Phantom short cartoon that just came out today. It's Danny Phantom meets Fairly Odd Parents, meets Tough Puppy, meets Bunsen as a Beast. 3-minute short cartoon. It just came out today. It's on YouTube. Check it out. It's in honor of Nickelodeon's 25th anniversary, so check that out.
Hey, you were part of that.
Too. It's on Facebook too, so check it out on Facebook. Scroll up on Facebook. Scroll down. Just do something on Facebook and you'll find it. I promise. Scroll. Do something. I'll draw a really cool Danny Phantom.
I'm going to watch this.
You're gonna watch this?
Yes, because.
Okay. You've never seen this before?
Butch, where did you get the idea for Danny Phantom?
I got the idea for Danny Phantom. I wanted to do a boys action show with a really cool name. That's really where it started. And I used to love the show Johnny Quest, and Johnny Quest. I thought that was a really cool name for a show. So I thought if I could come up with a really cool name for a show, that'd be half the battle, and it would also inform what the show would be about. Like if I did a show called, Johnny Lightning, he'd probably be a guy with electric powers or something. But I came up with a show named Danny Phantom. I thought the word phantom was cool, and that's kind of where it led. And he could hunt ghosts and all that sort of stuff. So, and then it was just a matter of developing it and selling it and pitching it, and yeah. Once I came up with the idea, though, it took 3 years to get it on the air. It's a long process.
It's funny, we're talking about these characters. You talk about Danny Phantom, you talked about Johnny Quest, and we're talking about Lincoln Loud. What's the one thing they all have in common?
They all have light-colored hair.
White hair.
Yeah.
That's
His is
one of
kind
our
of
next
bluish.
questions. Why does Lincoln have white hair?
Because he's really Danny Phantom, I think.
He's Johnny Quest.
He's Johnny Quest. Johnny Quest had blonde hair, actually. You know what the scariest Johnny Quest was for me, Jared? Do you remember Johnny Quest?
Barely. On the cusp.
Okay. You're very young. You're like way younger than me. You got to feed me later too.
Okay, yes.
Okay,
I will blend your food. Don't
feeding,
worry.
Thank you. There's the feeding, all that stuff.
Are your shows traditionally animated frame by frame by hand, or do you use a program to animate?
Me or
Both of you.
both of you. Go ahead, you answer that.
Oh, thanks. We use software called Harmony. I felt like with 11 characters, it would be torturous for an animator to actually have to draw 11 characters on paper every single day. They probably wouldn't want to do it. But it also keeps a sense of uniformity in the design and the models to be done in Harmony. Hey, it's Danny Phantom.
Danny Phantom picture that. So yeah, so Harmony, right?
Can you sign that?
I will sign this. We ended up, Danny Phantom was animated by hand, and so is Fairly Odd Parents and Tough Puppy, all traditional animation. But Bunsen is our first show we've ever done in Flash. It's a Flash animated show.
It looks like you take good use of the software, use it to your advantage.
We really, I find this, it does limit the writing a little bit, because we can't do as many things as we'd like to do because of the time constraints. We can't really in Fairly Odd Parents, if I wanted Timmy to change costumes 80 times, no problem. Can't do that with Flash because it takes a long time to build each model.
Each one.
I'm going to do another Danny Phantom, because I didn't like that Danny Phantom.
Oh,
I'm going to do another one.
I'll take that one.
You want to take that one?
Get my eBay going.
Okay, there you go. I'll just do another one really quick.
And Chris, we still have a request for Howard and Harold McBride.
Oh my gosh.
Chris, your fans are waiting.
I know, I haven't drawn these guys in forever, so I may screw it up.
Now, who are these guys?
Clyde McBride has two dads as parents. They were helicopter parents, and they...
I should know this because I'm a huge fan of the Loud House. I should already be able to quote this, right?
You don't have to know it all.
What's been the most rewarding part of making cartoons for both of you?
Oh boy, that's a great question. I think, when you're a kid and it's something that you love to do and you know that you want to do it for a living, and then you get to do it for a living, you look back on it and you can't believe that it's actually true, but it is true. And I think it's one of those situations where if you know you love it, it won't be a job, it won't be work.
I always tell people I
get paid to have fun.
I know. I really haven't worked in years because I have fun at my job every day. I'm amazed at what I get to do. But just because we love what we do doesn't mean it's not hard work. We have to get here and we have to practice every day. And selling a show is not an easy thing to do. It does take a lot of faith in yourself and in your idea and in the people you're working with. And it takes a lot of... You're going to get rejected a lot before you get accepted in your work a lot too. So just kind of stick with your idea. If you like it, keep going with it.
Oh, for sure. How old were you when you sold your first show?
I was, how old was I? 97? Not 97, it was 1997. I wasn't 97. No, I was 32 when I sold Fairly Odd Parents as a short cartoon. And then I sold it. It became a series in 2001. So I was about 35 years old. Yeah, it took a while.
It does take a while, right? I started in animation at 19. And this is the first show that I've sold at.
And you're what, 21? You're 21? Yeah, so see?
Double that. I sold it, I think I was 41. And it is proof that, you have to persevere and don't let no get you down because it's one step closer to a yes. And another Danny
Phantom.
Butch, how is Bunsen different from your other shows?
Bunsen is different because, number one, it's animated in Flash. And... a lot of the work is actually done in Canada by a studio called George Elliott Animation. They do it out of house. We do all of our pre-production here. We do all of our writing, all of our character designing, all of our thought processes down here. And there's a lot of thought in Canada as well, but they do all the animation there. My other shows used to be animated in Korea, so that's different. And it's a little bit different because I think it kind of is a sweeter show than a lot of my other shows. A lot of my other shows are kind of madcap and zany. But Bunsen has the madcap stuff, but it's a lot sweeter too. So I think you guys will like the mixture of both. Also, it's the first show with the character of Bunsen in it, which is really different. Yeah,
Totally different.
How about that, right?
Yeah.
You two have both been in the industry for so long. How has that affected your experience today?
Go ahead.
They know that we're old.
No, I'm really old. You're like a child.
There are some kids who get shows right out of school, and I think that's great. But I think, when Loud House was picked up to series, and for a moment I was like, yay, it's about time, and then I realized, no, it's the right time. And I think every single experience, the good and the bad, leading up to the show being picked up, lent itself to the ability to make the show. Like, I don't feel like I could have really done the same justice on the Loud House that we're doing now 5 years ago or 10 years ago. It's just all those experiences add up to make now the right time to make it.
Right. That's actually good because I mean, again, you might not
Chance.
get what you want, but make sure you're ready for it because it's a lot of work. It really is. It's a lot of fun, but it becomes a job like anything else because you have to get your stuff done on a certain time frame. You have to get really work with a lot of people that you have to explain. Mostly, it's explaining to people what you're thinking, getting your vision out there.
That's right.
Explaining what you're thinking about.
And sometimes it's good to have the experience to be able to say it and speak to a storyboard artist. Say, for example, if you've done storyboards, you know what you're asking for from these people. And that you've been in the trenches, as it were, with, that you're asking them to do, you could do it yourself. But it also helps when you hire people that can do what you do, but better. I think that there are people on the Loud House for sure that would draw circles literally around me, but I think it's also hiring the right people to do it.
Thankfully, you get to hire those people now, though, which is the fun part.
Just don't tell anybody that I think they're better than me.
Little tough puppy for you there.
Yeah.
How did you two get interested in making cartoons?
I started watching cartoons years ago back on a thing called television before we had cell phones.
Hey, what?
Yeah, I know, right? But there were only 3 channels on TV when I was younger, and on Saturday morning, that's when you got to see cartoons. That was the only time.
That's right.
And you had to sit in front of your TV on Saturday morning for like 4 hours from 8 to noon, and you eat your sugary cereal in your pajamas, and then you watch all your cartoons. So I really got involved with cartoons when I was younger, and on Saturday mornings, and then started. I would practice. I would watch Fred Flintstone, and I'd have to draw him as fast as I could because you couldn't freeze the TV. You couldn't freeze the TV back.
That technology.
Exactly. So yeah. So I would basically just have to draw as quick as possible. I used to love Bugs Bunny too. What about you? What were your favorite cartoon characters?
I watched cartoons the same way you did. Sometimes after school, we had the same 3 channels, I believe. But oddly, I didn't know I wanted to work in animation until maybe my senior year of high school. I didn't even realize it was like a job people did. I did want to do comic strips, and that's, I think, where a lot of my influences from comic strips come from. Is that's what I wanted to do. But it wasn't until high school that I realized it was something that you could do, and that there were actual schools that taught you how to become an animator. And I switched from comic strips into animation, and all these years I always felt like I turned my back on comic strips because like that was the thing I wanted to do.
Right.
And that's why the Loud House kind of has that feel to it. It was almost like my love letter to comic strips. If that's not something that I was ever going to be able to do.
And I always wanted to be a dog with no pants, which is why I drew this dog with no pants.
Yay.
So see what I'm saying? If dreams can come true.
I'll take that one too.
Is it true you're both from Michigan?
That is true. Where are you from, Michigan?
Royal Oak.
Royal Oak. I have family in Royal Oak. Yes. Okay. I'm right here. I'm from the Detroit area, but I was born in Detroit. But I moved to Port Huron.
Whoa.
21 Mile Road. You know where 21 Mile Road is?
I do.
Okay. You do? Nobody ever knows where that is.
I
Wow,
understand the
that's
Mile
great.
Road system in Michigan.
Right. Well, I was born. I lived on 12 Mile Road, where Roseville is.
Yeah.
And then we moved up to 21 Mile Road, up by Selfridge Air Base. I grew up near an air base by the water. Yeah. So.
Do you guys ever cast the same voice actors over and over?
Do you have Grey DeLisle on your show?
Of course.
Of course, Grey's on.
I'm drawing Lola right now.
And Grey does that voice? Yep.
She voices Lola, Lana, and Lily.
Oh wow. And I've had Grey on my show, on Danny Phantom, Fairly Odd Parents, and Tough Puppy as big lead parts. And I've had Tara Strong. Do you have Tara on your show?
Do not.
You don't. I should draw Timmy Turner. I'll draw a little Timmy Turner here for you.
You should draw Timmy Turner.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just there's no doubting when somebody is that good that you're going to bring them back.
I know, it's true. And
it's not just the voice, it's the character that they bring to it as well.
See, if you guys can do voices out there, that's an even harder job to get into, because doing voices, you might be funny in your own family, but go hang out with some other people that do voice actor stuff and see how good you are. Maybe you're great, but you really will learn a lot by hanging. I always say this about anything. If you're going to do something, hang out with other people that do it, for sure, because you're going to really learn from them, and you'll pick up a lot of pointers from them, too.
Do you base characters on people you know?
Chris? Your entire show.
Comment.
Your entire show.
There's nothing better than pulling from your own life experience for a character. It's hard creating characters out of the thin blue air. It's I had this friend who acted like this in school, so then you think about your character like, I'm going to make that character act like that, and it becomes more authentic that way, I think, when you sense a character's personality is like somebody that you might know. Mm-hmm. Even for funny animal cartoons, you do the same thing.
Well, it's funny because like with Tough Puppy, for example, I had this really cool dog that I loved, and we couldn't find a voice for him. And we had he was supposed to be an energetic, funny personality sort of dog. I'll put him like this. And we just really couldn't find his personality. Then we got Jerry Trainer to come in and do the voice, and we really just started basing Dudley a lot more on Jerry Trainer because he was so funny, and he would bring such a new vibe to every recording that we're like, oh, we could have him say this and this and this. It really lit us up for what the character could be. So if you can do a great voice and have a lot of personality, that character will really come alive for you as well. So, and you actually give the writers ideas, they want to use you more. So that's the fun part. It's not just about doing funny voices, it's acting
That's
as
right.
well.
I think a good case is the actors that we hired to play Lincoln's parents. We weren't supposed to see their faces at all. But when we hired Brian Stepanek and Jill Talley to play those voices, every line they said was so funny, and the writers would be in the recordings and be like, I want to write more dialogue for them, and they just became more and more part of the show. Like we couldn't hide their faces anymore. We had to make them part of the world, and it was all because of those actors.
The guy who plays Bunsen, Jeremy Rowley, he was like the 50th guy we auditioned for Bunsen, and he was it was really hard to find the Bunsen character because everybody came in doing little voices like this. Oh, hi, I'm a little tiny Bunsen. I'm a beast. And you're like, all right, that's good. And they were good. No, mad respect for them. But then Jeremy came in and just was kind of moving his arms, and he did this crazy voice that everyone just loved. And he was super adorable. And I never heard a voice like that before, so we were like, that's the guy, that's him. And he just stood out. And plus he was really funny too. Funny always wins.
Was it what you expected, or did he bring something new that you were like, oh, I didn't even realize that's who the character is?
Didn't even realize who it
Right.
was. But now that I know who he is, he's so easy to write for. Especially because Bunsen is very sweet all the time, but then when he gets mad sometimes it's really cute.
Did you audition?
I did not audition.
Oh.
No.
Butch, what was the inspiration for Bunsen?
Very good question. I drew in fact, I can kind of recreate the drawing here. I did a drawing of a boy looking at a monster. I had a little monster, and this will look nothing like Bunsen or Mikey the way they look now. But it was a little monster kind of standing here, and he was looking off to his, kind of a profile shot of the monster. And he was kind of just looking at this boy, and the boy was looking at him like, what the heck is this? Neither one knew what the other one was. Again, this looks nothing like the characters now. But I sort of just drew this children's book cover, and I was going to actually make it a children's book. They were kind of standing there like this. And it said, Bunsen is a beast, way up here. And I didn't really know what to do with it. I just kind of had it in my office at Nickelodeon. And it sort of sat there. I have a little trick I like to do. I'll make things into a poster and just kind of set them in my room. And they look a lot more real that way, like a movie poster. So when people come in, they can actually visualize it being real, like a real project. Again, this is a terrible drawing.
I'm taking notes.
That's
Movie poster.
So anyway, exec from Nickelodeon came in after about 3 years and saw it sitting there. And I said, what is that? And I said, oh, that's Bunsen as a Beast. What's that about? And I said, I don't know. He said, well, let's start developing it. So that's kind of how it started.
We want it.
We want it. Well, I don't think they wanted it. They liked the idea. So it became a show about fitting in and learning to be when you feel different in a place, learning how to fit in and be accepted, that sort of thing.
Chris, what was your inspiration for Clyde?
Clyde, because Lincoln has 10 sisters, I wanted to make sure that somebody had a voice that had no idea what having not only 10 siblings, but no siblings, being an only child, was in that world. And someone for Lincoln to bounce off of. And I think they both have this envy of one another of, wow, what would it be like to have all this space and have your parents give you all the attention? But at the same time, Clyde is certainly envious of Lincoln because of he's always got family around when he needs somebody to talk to. And so I think Lincoln needed a friend like that. And somebody to get in trouble with him without question.
Is it possible to do animation at home?
Heck yeah, more so than when we were kids, right?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I had to get a movie camera and set it up. Like I had a desk like this, and I would have to set the camera up and do one drawing and then put it down and back off and take a frame of film, take that up and then put it down, frame of film. I didn't have a lot of girlfriends, shockingly, but that was a lot harder back then. See all this tape and stuff? You don't have to do that anymore. It's all digital. You can do stuff on YouTube now. It's kind of crazy. And if you have a tablet.
With technology, you can certainly make an entire series at home if you want to. Some people do. And I think that's great.
I am very jealous of those people.
It's a good way to get discovered, too.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm drawing someone from Fairly Odd Parents. Oh, it's Timmy's dad. Hey, Tinkelberg.
And our last question, you guys. What is your advice for younger aspiring artists?
Go, Chris. You're younger than me.
My advice is to listen to what Butch has to say. No, I would say just keep drawing. I know that that's the most cliche thing to say is keep drawing, but if you want to stand out, I think the good thing is that you've got the internet. Use it. Put yourself out there. The entire world gets to see your art when you put it on Instagram or on Facebook. But the only other problem is that everybody else is doing the same thing too, so you've got just as much competition. So you need to make sure that what you're doing stands out, has a voice, has a style. And don't worry about having a style like right out of the gate. Your style will come eventually. Like you said earlier, we copied comics growing up.
We did.
And now it just kind of filters through, and it comes through a little bit.
Yeah, that's perfect. My advice would be don't ever give up, because no one's going to do it but you. So you can sit around in your house and you can want to do it, and you can hope to do it, pretend to do it, and think you're going to do it, but you're never going to do it unless you actually do it. You have to sit and start showing your stuff to people. And don't let fear get the best of you, because when Chris and I put a drawing up on the wall, you can instantly start judging it. Oh, wow. People can start looking at it and commenting on it. And if you're afraid of those comments, if you're afraid not everyone's going to love what you do, but you can't let that get you down, because if we had had fear and never pitched our shows, we wouldn't be anywhere right now. We wouldn't be able to give awesome advice, right?
Right. And without fear, what's left? Confidence.
Confident. Wow, that's, see how that, look at that, see?
It works.
Like, I was afraid to come up here and draw with Chris. Also, guys, don't forget to watch the crossover episode on YouTube. The Fairly Odd Parents meets Danny Phantom meets Tough Puppy meets Bunsen is a Beast crossover.
That's a lot of meeting.
That is a lot of meeting. And that's a lot of meeting. And don't forget to watch the brand new Loud House tonight at 5 o'clock.
Thank you. Yes, and the world premiere.
The world premiere.
Of Bunsen is a Beast.
Thank you very much. Bunsen
at 5:30. Right.
That's right. That's right. Not Bunsen is a beach. There's no beach.
Although
Beast.
that's a good episode name.
I know. I'm trying to think of a beach episode. I know. Exactly. Are we signing off? All right, guys. Thank you so much. Here, let's show our drawings. Our last few drawings. Here we go. Here's all the stuff we're doing.
Look at too many drawings.
There we go.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Sorry, you got Sharpie on your